We're going to turn to the business news now. Charles Pellegrin's here to look at the market reactions to those French legislative election results. What's the reaction, though, so far then from that surprise victory for the left-wing New Popular Front, Charles?
As in other areas, the expectation in the markets had been for the far-right National Rally to be in the lead, but instead it's the left-wing Alliance with its ambitious economic program that it says will cost around 125 billion euros for 2024-2025. And that emphasis on fiscal spending is what is worrying investors, especially with France already exceeding both debt and deficit targets set by the European Union. As you can see there, the euro is slipping against the US dollar at around $1.08. And in addition, French bonds have also gone down and their yields gone up, a sign that confidence in the country's ability to pay back its debt is being affected. You can see up by 0.03%, that yield of 3.2% on the 10-year French bond. And let's also look at how the European markets have opened. The CAC 40 in Paris shedding value at the open, even if futures actually showed a slightly higher open. The perspective of political limbo weighing on the markets there.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see what happens over the next few hours and days, indeed. What exactly then does the programme look like, Charles?
Well, it's an ambitious one. I said it, but the New Popular Front argues that the cost of it is actually worth it. That by fighting back against the cost of living crisis and by taxing the country's highest incomes, it will be able to generate consumer demand and eventually growth, which will then stabilize public finances. That was the gist of a letter of support to the party written by 300 economists, including such renowned ones as Thomas Piketty. Let's look at the specifics there. As you see, in terms of purchasing power, the New Popular Front's main promises are to increase minimum wage to 1,600 euros when it currently stands at just under 1,400 euros. That's after tax. It's also vowed to freeze prices on essential products and to index wages on inflation. And on taxes, as you see here, the Alliance is promising to create more tax bands in order to make the tax system more progressive and to bring in more revenue. There are currently 5 categories. They want it to go to 14. In addition, they will reinstate the tax on wealth, which was repealed in 2017 with an added penalty for environmental damage. And they plan to reform the inheritance tax system as well to set up a ceiling above which inheritance will be taxed at 100%. 100%, that ceiling set at 12 million euros. And finally, there's the repeal of Macron's unemployment insurance reform and his infamous pension reform. That last one would bring back retirement age to 62. But the ultimate goal of the left-wing alliance is to bring it back down to 60.
We shall see. All of that creating, though, significant fears from the business community.
We're starting to see some reactions regarding to that this morning. The head of the Small and Medium Businesses Association in France asking for the government to reestablish confidence and trust in the government. So clearly underlining some worries there. The French think tank Institut Montaigne, generally labeled as liberal, at least from an economic point of view, has said that the FPF's program would cost nearly 95 billion euros in extra funds per year, 6 times as much as the spending planned under Macron and his allies, and twice as much as what had been proposed by the National Rally. All of that happening as France has a budget deficit of 5.5% of economic output and ballooning debt levels. The International Monetary Fund predicts that if nothing is done, debt will continue to rise to 112% of GDP this year and continue to increase by 1.5% every year in the medium term. Even before the election turmoil, worries about France's future solvency is what had led ratings agency Standard & Poor's to downgrade its rating for France in late May. And with a hung parliament with 3 polarized blocs, it's unlikely that the NPF's program will actually be applied wholesale. So the real question in the days and weeks to come is obviously what kind of compromise, if any, will emerge.
Plenty for you to talk about over the coming days and weeks, I think. Charles Pellegrin with the business news for us here on France 24.